contrarian, leave it to contrarian badass Reggie Middleton. He called the housing crash. He called the collapse of Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers and the crisis in the Eurozone banking system.
Reggie Middleton.
But imagine an activist bank investor who comes in and insists, you know, the profits come to us, the equity shareholders. So instead of spending 55 to 58% of gross revenue on your employees, spend it on your investors. And then employees who want outsized compensation take the outsized risk to go with it. Now, that means no employers are going to do that. So it's interesting. Now, that leads into other discussions, you know, we can have, but, you know, you can never have an activist in Wall Street bank-style shareholder because the culture is created around high compensation. You know, before you had public companies, the Wall Street banks had high compensation, but nowhere near where they are now. And the compensation was realistic. And the reason is all the money they're risking was their money. They were partnerships. So, you know, if you want to roll the dice, you know, you're rolling your own dice. Now that you can roll shareholders' dice, and now shareholders plus taxpayer dice. Right. But once it comes to all the other industries, such as the financial industry, 55, 60% gross margin beating up on customers, there is a way, there is pushback coming. You know, the advent of the blockchain now allows entities, companies, big companies, small companies, you, me, everybody. You know, it could be Stacy and my Aunt Petunia, which I don't have. Okay, they can now do business directly without banks. A lot of the banks are taking this technology and they're trying to bolster their back end with it. But now this technology is at a maturity level where I believe and I know you could start building models to give services that are almost at cost. How to defeat a bank? The same way Google tamed the media companies. You give products at close to zero margin, and unless you change your business model, you get defeated. Take a look at media. Banks are guaranteed, on the banking industry, is guaranteed to be the new.
And you've got an initial coin offer coming, an ICO. And so, so you're pushing back, and so you're out there. Does the public understand that blockchain, Bitcoin, and cryptocurrencies are a way to send these banks into their sunset, to push them out of the way?
Well, I think in general they don't. And I think not just the public, but a lot of the entrepreneurs and corporations don't seem to understand. I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible. Cryptocurrencies, the biggest strength is the fact that you could program them. You can literally program them like a computer program and make these contracts that are smart. They're interactive, and they're just like a legal contract, but they execute when you push a button, and they force everybody to comply, so you can't break them. These contracts, you put them on the blockchain, so they're not even in the cloud. They live in different computers. Once you execute them, they can run without management, without brokers, without traders. And so you don't need to have any workers. You don't have any margins. So every company that you successfully congeal into a smart contract, you can take everything that you pay all the middlemen for, and all the middlemen's employees, and all the middlemen's regulators, and everything else that creates that spread, and you eliminate it. So where Santander may make a 60%, 50% profit margin, you could create a smart contract-driven vehicle and operate it at 3% margin. There is no bank that can operate at 3% margin. There's no bank that can operate at 10% margin. Not only banks, you could do this with delivery companies, with insurance companies, healthcare, et cetera. So when you have, I guess, new age company that wants to go on the blockchain and do an offering, and they do an offering using the blockchain with their token, but they use a legacy model, and they charge a lot for it, well, all they're doing is taking a fancy paint, putting on an old machine. April 25th is ICO, the date, Veritaseum. 9:30 a.m., opening New York markets, April 25th.
Mark your calendar.